All right, second take. It is the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Richie. Here with my guys, Mr. Idris Salam, as well as my man, Mr. Brett Bandick. Good morning. Actually, good afternoon, gentlemen. How you doing? Good to see you.
What's up, man?
Yeah,
Right
good
day. Right day.
Today, we're going to be discussing three ball games that, unfortunately, we were not able to hit on yesterday due to time mismanagement, which I will take the blame for. But we are going to speak on the Donut Bowl featuring the Chargers and Vikings, two teams that desperately need a win. We are going to speak on the Atlanta Falcons making a trip to the Motor City to take on the Detroit Lions. Falcons are a surprisingly undefeated team in the early going. And we're going to speak on the Bills visiting the nation's capital, as well as some suggestions for teams that are going to hit the panic button in the event they get a Week 3 loss. We're going to start things up in Minnesota. The Los Angeles Chargers visiting the Minnesota Vikings. I called it the Donut Bowl because both these teams are winless, and it's kind of a surprise because both these teams are very talented. They both made the playoffs last year. Repercussions that could come from a Los Angeles loss could be the firing of Brandon Staley sooner than later. In Minnesota's case, although they are also 0-2, I don't think it's the same vibe around that locker room, win or lose. Just my opinion. Bretsky, I'll start with you. Before you give your prediction, what is your thoughts about the temperature of both of these teams?
I think the Chargers head coach is on the hot seat. Like you said, I think another loss. Going into the bye week, I think they have a bye week 5. I think.
Yes, sir. I believe that's correct.
They go into that bye week 0-4. I don't see that guy having staying much longer for the Chargers. Yeah, he's on the hot seat. The whole team is on the hot seat. I mean, they're putting up numbers. They're scoring. Even without Eckler last week, their defense just hasn't shown up yet. And they look great on paper. They're letting teams back in the game, and they're not finishing.
Strong point, Brett. Strong point.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm waiting. It's week 2. This defense is just too good on paper to really give up on them. I'll give them a punter's chance this week. The Vikings. I like the signing of Cam Akers. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets going in that offense. And Hawkinson. I mean, Jesus. It's in that 1-2 combo of Jefferson and Addison. I mean, that's a tough combo to stop. And Chargers haven't been able to stop an offense lately. So I think it's going to be a high-scored affair for both teams. Where's this being played? Minnesota?
Yes, sir. It's in Minnesota.
I'll take Minnesota on this one.
All right.
Yeah. As much as I want the Chargers to win, I still believe in Kirk. So after watching that quarterback special, it's kind of hard not to root for the guy. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go Vikings 34-31.
I like it, Brett. And to piggyback you before I pass it to Idris, as a Giants fan. And that was our first playoff win in roughly a decade when we went into Minnesota and won that game. To see Kirk Cousins in the aftermath with his family, the way he handles the loss as a true professional, but the way that that he loves being a member of the Vikings and just a member of the NFL, it actually struck a chord with me on a level of a deep respect that I have for him. And for me to actually find something sad, even though my team advanced that week, I think it speaks volumes on the kind of character and the kind of human being that Kirk Cousins is. So I think that's pretty awesome that you kind of seen it the way I did with the behind-the-scenes footage of a very emotional playoff game. Idris, you are up Chargers, Vikings, winless each. Who's winning?
Yeah. I'm going with the Vikings. With the I keep wanting to call them San Diego Chargers. With them, I'm going to put a lot of it on the defense and the head coach, but I'm going to put a little bit on Kellen Moore also, because the Chargers had a chance to win. He threw 3 and out, and when they should have ran the ball a little bit, worked the clock and everything else. As for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins hasn't played that bad this year. Even in the loss against Philadelphia, he didn't throw any interceptions. Yeah, he didn't throw any interceptions against Philadelphia. I think the defense let them down, and I think they got a slow start. But I see Kirk Cousins kind of like Tony Romo. He's a real good quarterback. They want him to do too much, but he's and like Romo, it's hard not to like this guy. You know, he's a real good guy. Takes the wins with the losses. He's never in any nonsense. And if you look at how he was drafted, he was drafted with RG3, but lower, basically as a backup. And here he is, still doing his thing. But I'm gonna go Vikings. I think defense is gonna pick it up with Frazier. Is it Leslie Frazier they got? No, it's what's his name? Oh, I can't think of his name. Anyway, I think the defense is gonna pick it up. I think Cousins is gonna come into his own. I think Akers will get some time. He may not get the bulk of the carries, but I think they'll pull it off. I'm going to go 31-28. Vikings get the first win. Brandon Staley's on the hot seat, and he may not make it through the bye week.
Yeah, I kind of see it going similarly in the high-scoring realm. I got the Minnesota Vikings winning this thing 34-27. And it might be more than that. Maybe the Chargers score is later. But I like Minnesota for the win. And it's not because I necessarily think they're a better team. I just think that the Chargers have a very bad disconnect with their head coach right now. And I actually think that it's an extension of the way that their season ended last year in Jacksonville after blowing that tremendous lead. They have too much talent on that team to be underachieving at this level.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Where in Minnesota's case, I don't necessarily think that it's as shocking because, yes, they did win 13 games last year. But at the same time, they also were the beneficiaries of some of the greatest luck I've ever seen in my life in terms of winning one-score games. Yeah. So when a 9-win Giant team who had to scratch and claw to get into the playoffs defeated them, it wasn't shocking to me because I didn't think Minnesota was on the level of a San Francisco or a Philadelphia or even a Dallas last year. I just think that their record was superior because it was – Yeah, they did beat us on Christmas, but, we held our own.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a defensive thing for Minnesota, I believe.
I saw them as a paper tiger last year, and it was proven true when the Giants beat them. And, under normal circumstances, a 9-win team is not supposed to beat you in your house when you're a 13-win team. I think a lot of it was predicated off of the fact that the North overall was a weak division, whereas the NFC East was incredibly strong. That's where I'm. That's kind of where.
Same story this year.
Yeah, I tend to agree, Brett. I tend to agree.
Yeah.
NFC East through 2 weeks is 7-1, dude.
Yeah.
And the one loss came within the division. Right, so that is encouraging, but at the same time, the Giants got to do better in the division. That goes without saying. The Detroit Lions are hosting the Atlanta Falcons. This is a cool game in the sense that you have two fan bases that are very thirsty for winners because it's been a minute since either one of these teams were truly relevant. Longer for Detroit because you got to go back to the Barry Sanders, Herman Moore, Scott Mitchell era. With Atlanta, it's a little more recent history. Look no further than blowing a 28-3 lead to the New England Patriots, and they have not been the same since losing that game. Different head coach right now. You have great hope in a rookie named Bijan Robinson, who shares the backfield with veteran Tyler Algier. I love that 1-2 punch. Desmond Ridder still has a lot of work to do, but I feel that every time he plays, even after every mistake or every good play, he's gaining invaluable experience. I think it is, you have to go through it to get where you're going, and it's not always going to be a straight path. Last week they defeated the Green Bay Packers, who were undermanned. They had a fair share of injuries. I personally think Green Bay should have won the game, but Atlanta was able to make the adjustments when it was necessary. As this game goes, I think it really comes down to which team can keep the other team's offense more at bay. And honestly, while I think very highly of both running attacks, I just think Jared Goff is further along in his career and can be trusted in more pressure situations than the rookie Ridder. And then you factor in that this is a Detroit team that lost an emotional game on Barry Sanders' Day to the Seahawks in OT, a game that I'm sure many Lion fans feel they should have won. And it's got to be frustrating for Lions fans because you just got done beating the defending world champions at Arrowhead.
Right.
So I'm looking.
Okay, great, Rich.
So,
great.
So basically, sorry, I got a very ridiculous text that I want to read this to y'all. We'll just have to wait, I guess.
Let's wait on that.
We got time.
Yeah, we'll wait on that one. Sorry, guys, my train of thought just got derailed. What was I saying?
No, it's talking about the game. Listen, you can't sleep on either team. They're both very potent offenses. Last year, Atlanta, they competed in every single game last year. And they were so close to, making playoffs. It was just, it's kind of hard to watch, but now they have, now they got, Bijan, and this kid is a star in the making. He's electric. I like what he brings to the table. That juke that he did this past weekend was insane.
Oh man, in slow mo, it was so crazy,
bro. And Richie, you hit on that 1-2 combo between him and Algier. I'm still waiting on Kyle Pitts. It feels like we've been waiting on him for 3-4 seasons now. For him to come around, and I just don't know if it's quite going to happen with him. London is finally starting to get the picture. He's starting to come around, but Richie touched on Goff. His experience. I just think they have a better coach and a better offensive crew to lead his team. And I think Gibbs is going to have he's going to have a big day. But St. Brown, I think he's questionable. I don't quite know what's going on with him yet. But as far as I know, he's still playing. But this is going to be another close, tight-knit game. I still see it high scoring. 30, 34, 33. Literally going to come down to the last, minute and a half of the game. But I'm taking Detroit in this one. One point victory.
I don't know if you mentioned it because I was slightly distracted. I heard some of your points, but Josh Reynolds might not play. And if that's the case, it looks like Raymond, who is the former speedster for the New York Giants, used to be a special teams man for us. He's a true burner. Undersized receiver, kind of about as tall as Tyreek Hill, but that guy could run. So he might end up being the number 2 going in, or you might see a situation where it is Marvin Jones. But that's assuming Reynolds doesn't play. And it's a groin injury, and when you consider how many cuts receivers have to make, I would have to say that it's a distinct possibility he doesn't play. Whether he plays or not, I still like Detroit. I think Bijan is going to get his, but I think ultimately what could turn the game into a Detroit victory I just think Desmond Ridder is more likely to make a mistake or two than Jared Goff. And the Lions are home. I'm taking the Lions by 7. I'm going to go 30-23.
Yeah, everything you guys said, I'm going Lions 31-21.
Oh,
I think you in Detroit last week, the thing with Barry Sanders. Detroit is that team now. They got the confidence because they know now this is the year we can take this division. We can win a playoff game or two. We've proven last year what we can do. We surprised everyone. Bijan Robinson and Algier, good 1-2 punch. They're going to test that Detroit defensive line, but Hutch is going to be there waiting for him, coming off the edge. Ridder, he's getting there, but he's not quite there. He still has a habit of not hitting his wide open receiver, London. It's going to be rough. I'm going 31-21 Detroit. They get back on the winning track. But don't sleep on Atlanta. They look good.
I like it. Unanimous.
Yeah. You there, Richie?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Oh, I thought you froze, man.
No, I didn't froze.
Just want to see your face, man. Just want to see your face,
Nah.
man.
Nah, I just got a little bit of a headache. So it looks like we are in unison on how we see this game happening.
Yeah.
We're going to move it over to the nation's capital. I'm going to do this.
Commanders.
Can't get annoyed if you turn off the phone, right? All right. Buffalo Bills are visiting the nation's capital to take on the Commanders. Sam Howell really doing his thing right now in Washington, proving that he might finally be the franchise quarterback that they have needed. And, Josh Allen very much so fits the criteria for a franchise quarterback. He had a huge week 2 after a horrid start in week 1 against the New York Jets.
Right.
Different caliber of opponent in week 2. The Raiders on defense are not the Jets, but Josh Allen looked very much like the quarterback that he has been for previous years. He's been kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde act with the turnovers. This is not going to be an easy game. And, when you think about it, dude, this is the most important game that these two franchises have played against each other since Super Bowl 26. You got to go all the way back to the 1991 season.
Mark
it was a
beating.
Art Monk.
Yeah, Darryl Green. A very long time ago, guys. This was a very long time ago. But right now, for the first time in a long time, it looks like Washington, between new ownership, a new face in the building, assisting head coach Ron Rivera, that face being Eric Bieniemy. You have a very tough kid in a Brian Robinson who overcame an attempted robbery. He got shot. Just a different kind of toughness and resolve to that kid. And you have a very talented defense. I don't know how good this team is just yet. They did beat the Arizona Cardinals, just like my Giants did, and they struggled beating them. Not to the level that we struggled, but neither was a clean victory. And then, Russ, Hail Mary, they didn't convert the 2-pointer. Washington had to come from behind there. And it does say a lot about a team when you could fight back. I don't want that to be lost in the discussion. But what I must say is I'm going to choose experience over the greenness of the Washington Commanders right now. I think it's going to be close, but I have a feeling that in crunch time, those Buffalo receivers are going to be able to stretch out this Washington secondary and make the necessary plays. But I do think Washington is trending in the right direction. And these are two divisions, the AFC East and the NFC East, that could be arguably the two best in all of professional football. So I think you're going to see these kind of matchups that not only are going to be important because of it's a football game, it's one of those weird seasons where interconference matchups have a lot to do with how you're doing in your division too. But, the test of AFC East versus NFC East in the early going, the NFC East is off to a bit of a better start head-to-head. But that's not telling the whole story because you still got the Dallas-Miami game that's going to be a thriller. You got Brian Dable's reunion in Buffalo that's going to be a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? So you got the New York game, the Battle of MetLife. You got the Pats that still have some saying to do when they play the Giants, when they play the Commanders. So, some of these things will be evened out. But for right now, this particular game, I'm picking the AFC East team to win. I don't think Buffalo is the monster that they were a couple of years ago, and I don't necessarily look at them as a Super Bowl contender that they were. But you got to look at injuries. The Aaron Rodgers injury in Green Bay has basically given life to the New England Patriots and Buffalo Bills, who I think most people slotted behind the Jets. And I think a lot of teams were like teetering on, is it Miami? Is it the Jets? The Bills and Patriots were kind of like the two forgottens. And now I think that they get a second wind of life with this unfortunate Aaron Rodgers shit. And it's going to be a little more interesting. I know Brett on many a show has alluded to Miami needs Tua upright and healthy because without him, their whole season can blow up in flames too. So a lot to unpack, a lot to still happen. But what I like about this game, even though I got the Commanders losing, I'm going to go 24-20. Even though I got them losing, I think this is going to be a good step in the right direction for them to gain some confidence in knowing that they are starting to hang with some really good teams. Because although Buffalo is not what they were a couple of years ago, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are still premier players in this league.
I'm going to go with your score. Oh, go ahead, Brett.
No, I'm guys. Look at the AFC's preview. I predicted for Buffalo to finish last in this division, and I'm still sticking by that. I am not a firm believer in their defense. They didn't change anything on defense. Washington's game plan has to be evolved around running the ball down their throats with Robinson, controlling the clock, moving the chains, keeping Josh Allen off of that field. The more repetitions this man gets, he's gonna score. But Washington has to come up with a game plan to keep him off the field. And they do have the offense to do it, believe it or not. I really like this Robinson kid. Heart of gold. It's going to be hard to bring him down. And McLaren, he'll make an appearance this game for sure, especially going against that Buffalo secondary. I'm not a believer in Buffalo, guys. I'm really not. I don't like what they did in the offseason. They brought over Damian Harris, but now he's third on the depth chart. And they're playing on the road. I don't like it. I don't like their chances. I'm taking Washington in this one, 27-20.
I'm going Washington 24-20. I think Buffalo's going to get a heavy dose of McLaurin and Robinson. I call him Thurston Howell the third. It's just something from the old school.
Right.
He can move. He can throw. He has a real good arm. And it's funny how in the beginning of the season, the players were complaining about how hard Eric Bieniemy was.
Yeah.
But you're seeing how it's showing up on the field that they're playing hard when they have to play hard. He put that toughness in them that they were missing last year. They had toughness, but they weren't killers. Now they feel like we can win.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going Washington. I think with Buffalo, like we were saying, I think their window is passed for the Super Bowl. I think when they lost Dable, they lost a lot. And I just don't think – I think McLaurin's going to have a field day.
Yep, I agree.
I think McLaurin's going to have a field day.
Updated finals for me, just posting them while you're speaking. I'm adding a little more to that Bills Commanders 27-24. But, yeah, I think the points are on point, though, like both of you guys. I think the points are reasonable. And I think you both give legitimate answers as to why both results could happen. Terry McLaurin, one of the more overlooked receivers in the NFL. mainly because I don't think he's had that superstar quarterback that kind of shines the light on him like that. Sam Howell has definitely shown the tools that he could potentially be that guy. And in that regard, I feel that they are getting it right at the quarterback position. This is a division where every team has some substance at the quarterback position now. You know, Daniel Jones, still a lot of questions surrounding him. And when you get a big contract, that's going to follow you. You know, He did get paid well. Sam Howell is young on a rookie deal. Jalen Hurts coming off a Super Bowl, but a lot of people that want to critique him are going to be like, oh, they have a great O-line, and they got this and they got that. But make no mistake, Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal talent. And Dak Prescott, although it hasn't translated in the postseason, he is a hell of a winner in terms of constantly winning this division. Winning this division is no small task. I got some suggested teams before we get out of here that are in panic button mode if they don't get a W this week. I would say the Los Angeles Chargers, Minnesota Vikings, Cincinnati Bengals, New York Jets, and Buffalo Bills. I'll be quick on my assessment, let you guys talk on the way out. For the Chargers, Brett already said it. We all kind of said it. It's the fact that they're just not responding to their coach. In Minnesota, I think it's an issue where it's like, do you want to blow it up? Do you want to keep it together? What do you want to do? Can we get back in the race? There's a lot of questions there because there's this one team that plays in MetLife that can definitely use the services of a Kirk Cousins. But win on Sunday, put a couple of wins together, I think things could be rectified. Cincinnati, 2 words, Joe Burrow. He's not healthy. And, it's got to be disappointing when you've been playing and contending for the AFC Championship and Super Bowls lately. New York Jets, huge investment, 40-year-old quarterback that unfortunately can't walk right now. And the Buffalo Bills, the controversy with Diggs and Allen has kind of overshadowed everything, and their championship window is getting smaller by the day. That is where I have it. These are all teams that need to win this week.
Yeah, I'm on the Chargers-Bengals hot seat. Bengals got to win. Yeah, they started off 0-2 last year. They made playoffs, but that's a different team. Different quarterback. You know, that was with a healthy Burrow. You know, kind of agree with everybody. You know, he should not have started week 1 or last week for that matter. You know, he just got paid a ton of money. You know, that's a long-term investment, and you know, you're gonna risk that guy's health with an offensive line that hasn't changed also. You know what I mean? The Jets kind of did the same thing. You know, they paid their quarterback, didn't do anything to their offensive line, and look what happened. You know, so I'm on the Bengals, Chargers, hot seat. Both teams got to win. Both teams got to win. If they don't, they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think with the Chargers, they lose this one, it's a wrap. They could still maybe make the playoffs and be slim hope for the division. I don't think they get the division. Minnesota, considering the way the division is, no one is taking the lead yet. I think they could lose and still capture the division. It's going to be hard, but they still need to win. I think Cincinnati loses this game, it's a wrap. I think it's a wrap period because Joe Burrow is not going to do anything as long as he's hurt.
Yep.
You know, so I think their season, sit him, let him heal up, bring him back later on in the season to see what happens. The Jets, until they get a quarterback, it's a wrap. Buffalo, they have a chance, but they have to win because the division's still tough because Miami's going to do what they do. New England looks like we can play some football. You know, the Jets, you know, so
we're going to win this weekend.
They still have to win. But everyone needs it. I think Staley is gone if they lose. I'm going to stick by that. He's gone if they lose. Period.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying. Huge supporter of our show, my man Zach. Huge Charger fan. And he himself is kind of embracing the losing because he wants Staley out of there. It's almost like you got to hit the floor before you can get back up kind of idea.
Let me tell you, Zach, I've been telling Zach for 2 seasons now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll believe me now.
Yeah, he ain't no Staley fan. I can tell you that. I know last season, I remember texting back and forth with him during that implosion against Jacksonville. He was sick to his stomach. And I understand because I've been on the receiving end. As a fan, I've been on the receiving end a couple of times in my life of blowing a substantial lead.
I told him to last year. I said, dude, the Chargers are not going to do anything.
I hate to cut it short. I gotta start walking into work, or I'm gonna be late, boys.
Do you think, Bretsky?
Apologize for the trouble. I love you guys.
Nah, you good.
Later, boys.
Patriots all the way, man.
That's right, baby.
Have a great day, brother.
We're gonna win.
Real quick, Brett. Okay, he's gone. It's okay. Last subject I want to hit on. Granted, we hit on it last night, but just a quick refresher. Tonight we have Thursday Night Football between the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers. Quite frankly, I think the injuries to the New York Giants is going to be a little too much to overcome. But what I am hoping for is potentially seeing a certain fight in them that can galvanize them for the rest of the year. Because sometimes, even in a defeat, if you feel that you competed when the odds were stacked, I personally believe that it's a situation where you will be better for it, whether it's win or lose. Look no further than last year, the Christmas game. We lost to Minnesota, got a second shot, punched them in the mouth. But the 49ers, even without Brandon Ayuk, assuming that he doesn't suit up, they are so very deep. And I know that there's reasons for encouragement for an upset. We did see a rookie last year torch their secondary, but the God's honest truth is the odds are definitely stacked against the New York Giants. But, like anything else, the thing I love about playing elite teams is that it gives you an honest measuring stick about where you're from. Now, we played one elite team and we got embarrassed. This is an opportunity to play another elite team and see if we stack up better and if we can gain some much-needed confidence going into the 10-day break and hopefully welcoming back a healthy number 26 for the Seattle game, which will be on Monday Night Football in Week 4. So going in with low expectations, but optimism that the New York Giants are going to be able to compete at a much higher level.
The thing about tonight's game, I don't expect us to win. Like I have it 49ers 30, Giants 20. A lot of people say, why are you going against the team? Because this is not about being a homer. This is about reality. If we win, great. But what it's going to do tonight, we're going to see what Daniel Jones can do. He doesn't have Saquon. He doesn't have Thomas. He has Evan Neal, who's just not getting it. He may get it eventually, but he has to go against Bosa. Let's see what Daniel Jones do. Let's see how he earns his $40 million. If he shows up tonight, even in defeat, and we say, okay, this is our man. But this is his stage right here. This is where you have to take over the game and show people that you were not overpaid. This is the game right here. And we'll find out. We'll find out. Go Giants.
Yeah.
Man. Go Big Blue.
We most certainly will. Renewing a great rivalry, interdivisional, but a rivalry nonetheless. You cannot write the history of either the San Francisco 49ers nor the New York Giants without many battles with these two teams involved. And I had mentioned to Brett before he left, I've been on the receiving end of a couple of playoff losses similar to what the Chargers endured last year. One in particular was the Jeff Garcia, Terrell Owens-led comeback over Kerry Collins, Jeremy Shockey's New York Giants, which was one of the toughest losses to digest in Giants playoff history. I would say the other one that rivals it in terms of just utter stupidity and blowing a lead has to be the 1997 season, round one, when they blew that massive lead to the Minnesota Vikings. So, you play enough playoff games, you stick around the league long enough, no matter how historic your franchise is, you will be on the wrong side of that. And on the 49ers end, I'm absolutely sure that there's a decent amount of fans who will think about the Williams fumbles And we'll think about the Roger Craig fumble that led the Giants to making 2 other Super Bowls. And that's where I'm at. 49ers for the win. I'm sticking with my prediction 27-17. But like anything else, I hope I am wrong. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. And we will do a better job in the future of making sure that we do not run out of time. I think we spent a little too much time on our less notable games. For Idris, I am Richie, and we are out. Have a great Thursday, and I hope you enjoy the football game.